This is the Swindon Advertiser, rolling off the presses today. The current crop of journalists write their stories straight onto templated pages, which are then digitally accessed by the production staff in Oxford. It is then plated up and ready for the press. Adver reporter Rhys Chaplin meets a group of former production staff from the Swindon Advertiser, who give him an insight into how the paper used to be put to bed.
It was exciting, everybody's views were exciting. I loved working here. It was fantastic. There was always something going on, not just sport, which was good enough. Newspapers then was exciting stuff. I mean, the journalists did their stories, and they came into the composing room, linotype set the stories, and then they put in a random which collected all the type. You put the headlines on them, and then you start to make the pages up from the stone. And the operators did all the type work. And the composers did the make-up on the stone, made the pages up, and that's how then they went to print from there.
I can say when you make the pages up, when you used to make them up, you used to have to do it upside down.
Oh, every time, left to right.
Mirror vision. That was amazing.
Left to right.
Well, we can all read it
so
upside
the
down
journalists
now.
did the other side, could read it properly.
In advertising there, you can see that. Can you read that left to right?
It used to be all hands to the deck, as the guy said on a Saturday afternoon. There was two machines, linotype machines, which to explain what a linotype machine is, it's a keyboard and a big, clattering, noisy machine that set slugs. We used to call them slugs, and that's what the type was on. These two guys, it was 6 point, which is tiny little print, and I had to read that quick and bang it all out. And like Norris said, it was distributed amongst quite a few other machines to get it all out fast. You had to try and get it as accurate as you could, because obviously the proofreading, if they found loads of mistakes, they had to come back to you. You had to set another slug, which the composers would have to then slot in after these boys had read it, had a quick read of it and looking at it on the stone, and it was just frantic, but it was great.
I always tell a line to operator because they only got burns on this hand. Because as it went, you'd have a splash.
Yeah, you go.
You'd send it away, and it pushed the molten lead in. Sometimes it would splash and it would come down on your hand. Like that. And we've all got the same marks. When I started on what's called TTS, which was teletypesetting. There was about 8 of us, and we set a tape, and then they run the tape. You put it through a processor, and they run the tape onto a linotype, which was manually operated pretty much. But it used to run itself then. The tape would make the keys go in, you wouldn't touch it. Some about it all when it came to 1980, when it went from print, hot metal, to the cut and paste. And that obviously is a page I brought along with the paste up. So that was so all the comps had to retrain from hot metal to paste. But I was the first one to put some, when we got the phototype setting in, and we had like a processor. I put the first few bits of test through,
Polymer plates and litho plates, then we had the new press, and then it was all colour from then onwards.
But I was the last editor of the Football Pink.
You was.
From 73 to 1990. It was certainly a heck of an operation. We had a team of 4 or 5 people standing by. When the results came in, it was, the matches used to end, 4:45.
Yeah.
And we had the results coming in off the wire, and the latest reports from the various playing fields around Swindon.
Yeah, local.
And it was all made up and sent down pretty quickly. And we had a team making up the league tables for the 4 main leagues. You'd fill in the score, and then somebody would quickly add it up and put the new one in, and then that would go down in the wire. Paul here was sticking them down the wire as fast as he could.
So they got on the vans?
In the little I don't know what you call it, those little containers that you shoot down to the works. And in about 10 minutes really, and then as you say, probably off stone just after 5 o'clock really.
Yeah, it was a real fun atmosphere.
Yeah, you could walk in the newsroom process, machine room, stereo, you know, and you were sort of all one family really.
Because there's a lot of brothers working here.
Your dad worked here?
Yeah, father and sons and brothers and sisters and husbands and wives.
There were a number of romances that blossomed too.
And the girls used to walk through from the front office, remember? And as they walked through, the blokes used to cat whistle and thing like that, you know. And this girl walked through, and I know she's well made. And then she came up to me and said, would you buy a ticket? Lottery ticket. Anyway, after that, for a day, we met together. 2 years later, we married and 4 years.
So how many years have you married in total?
56 years.
Wow.
Oh, you've got about 1962.
Got a way to go yet.
If you wanted anything, so it's a long time, but it's been happy years.
Well done, Joe.
I was on the sports desk, and Dorothy, this Irish girl who worked then in reception, and we got to know each other, and I think it was one of those Christmas dances where it really got off the ground. We used to go down the Vic. Christmas Eve, everybody used to go down there. We had one edition out that day on Christmas Eve. Everybody went down there, and I think that's when we really got together. And we've been together now 34 years.
Newly single, started to go out again. Met Barry out and about in the pubs and things, watching live music, and he was obviously in the studio, so we, sort of interacted at work and everything. And then he just asked me out, and the rest is history. We've been married 6 years on Friday.
So, long hours, hard graft, a sense of pride in the Adver, and a healthy dose of fun.
I mean, this place was called the Rising Sun, wasn't it? It's only called the Roaring Dawn because of the noise at the press bench.
The early press, not the one we bought from the Germans in *54, but the one before that
Was a nodding donkey.
you would put one sheet in at a time, and this thing would feed one sheet at a time, and it would start very slowly, and then go and of course the guys would open the window and they'd say, the donkey's roaring, come on, and everybody would rush back. So every department, you would find them over here at different times. So we would be over here waiting to start the press while these guys was working, and then the press would start up and then they'd all come over, Now I was here for both sittings.
Receptionist Tracy Osman has been the welcoming face of the Adver for many years.
Good afternoon, Miss West. When they had to do something with the Bath Chronicle for the Bath Council, they had to move offices or something.
Yeah.
So everybody came here, and so they had to work round the clock. And because that meant people couldn't have their breaks, they moved the bar from the Donkey into the back, so that they could, because they didn't have time to go over there for a break. So they used to have, can you imagine, out there having a drink, doing those big machineries? Oh my God.
Meeting the printers was an amazing experience. It's weird, it's because you see the history of almost the transaction going from the past to the present, and I think to see the effort and the time but the quickness and the speed of what they had to do and how they had to interact, and how there was every floor in the old Adver building was lively and lived in, and probably people's second homes in the town. I think that was an amazing experience to see how they interacted and how they had to work.
Very different to what you do now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what we do now is probably been so cut down in terms of the technology aspect. It means we actually have a chance to, if we have something go wrong, you can rectify it very quick. If something went wrong back then, that was probably a massive issue. And for the communication aspect as well, I mean, I'm just next to my colleague or the editors very close, but they would have had to go from the bottom floor all the way to the top, and there's a lot of stairs in the old building. and it must have been very hectic. But I think also I would have been able to thrive in that environment because I kind of like the pressure, and it's probably quite an adrenaline getting that sorted, and I think, yeah, it would have been an amazing time to be involved with the company as well as it is now.
So what would the guys make of the robots, helping to produce the Swindon Advertiser of the 21st century? Jerry Seger, the print manager at NewsQuest Oxford, tells us about the press and how he and his staunch team keep her running at optimum speed both day and night.
There's a man-rolling printing press here which comprises of 6 printing towers. We can print up to 192 pages in full colour in one go of the press. We currently go through around about 250 tonnes of newsprint a week. We print over 100 jobs, comprising of 1.5 million copies. The press runs at 70,000 copies an hour, so depending on what size of the job and how long it goes on for, it depends on how long the job takes, but we do print over 3 shifts, so our print hours is probably 36. We print for about 80 hours a week. We work 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. The only day we had off last year was Christmas Eve, when we didn't print at all. We print Christmas Day, every other day we're printing. So it tends to be the majority of the work is done at nights, because for the daily titles like the Swindon Advertiser, it's printed overnight in the early hours of the morning, ready to be distributed the next day. It's a completely full-time job, as in I'm constantly on call. I work every day of the week, never get a break really, but it's part of the fun really. Do you know what I mean? Always here to help, and whatever needs doing is the responsibilities on my shoulders to make sure these presses keep running. Being newspapers, you can't go out for a daily paper like the Swindon. I mean, we can't print this 3 days late. It's got to be done on time, and on that day. So there's an issue that's going to be dealt with. So it's part of the job and part of the fun.
You enjoy the challenge?
Yes. And the thing with newspapers, and I mean, there's always something different that crops up. There's always something new. There's always problems on the press, things you never think would ever happen, do happen, you've got to deal with them, and there's always a good bunch of people who've got working for you as well, which helps, do you know what I mean? And people who can work off and throw ideas off and just get the best out of what we got, basically.
As another print run comes to an end, and the advert is stacked, packed and loaded onto the vans ready for delivery, the press roars into life again, ready for the next edition.